Surprise!
Hey,
We're
hey.
live. Hey, hey, Heidi ho. How's it going? How's it going? It's been
Uh,
15 years since I've traveled in the TARDIS with you.
so what have I been up to in those 15 years?
Sounds like a lot from.
It's a very vague answer, but
But we'll all be okay in a million years. We're back on an exciting episode of Starfleet Boy After Dark. It's been like ages since we've done a Starfleet Boy After Dark. In fact, Fathery's probably like, "Oh my gosh, there's a Starfleet Boy After Dark happening. Where? What's going on?" Let's see if he tunes in. Uh, but we're back because we're talking about one of our favorite TV series, Doctor Who, which has come back. Russell T Davies has brought the show into a sort of new direction. And this was the second special of 3, which is going to culminate with Giggle next week. And then we get the Christmas special, which is the introduction of the 15 Doctors. So I'm really excited to be joined by my friend Robbie, who's a Whovian who appreciates Doctor Who. And we've talked much about Doctor Who over our friendship. So welcome back. What'd you think of the episode overall?
I think I enjoyed it more than the first one. I think the first one is probably has more variety and you've got the great character dynamics. But if you want just a straight plot heavy sci-fi adventure, this one was pretty great.
Yeah, I have to agree. I like this one better than the first one too. I love one of the things I love about Doctor Who is like the suspense and being scared and and getting my like my frights on, and this episode really creeped me out. The nothings, is it the nothings or the not things? What are they? They're
Uh,
not things, I think.
I'm not too sure.
Well, anyways, the creature of the week or the monster of the week or whatever really freaks me out. That kind of idea of like, some like in Midnight, something that can take you over. It's almost like sucking out your essence and like becoming you. And like it was also really good how like the whole Hads thing with the TARDIS, like the TARDIS just like fleeing and going away and then coming back. Yeah, I liked this episode a lot more than the first one. Even though it was great to see Donna and Rose and everything, I just thought this was like very back into the game, if you will, back into like kind of what we expect with the Doctor and like the kind of zany, crazy adventures that he goes on.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you couldn't really have 3 episodes that are all set on Earth. That'd get pretty boring. Um, because I think the Christmas episode will probably be mostly set in Earth as well, and probably the giggle. Um, and I felt like this was an episode where Russell was I was like, how is Russell going to do this? Because, you know, um, I feel like a lot of his writing is character first, plot second. And if this is just going to be Tennant and Tate, is this going to be really good? Um, is it not going to be quite as good as the first one? But I thought it felt like more of a Moffat style episode, to be honest. I could have seen this in the Capaldi era.
Yeah, this Doctor Who's really kind of, I spelled wild wrong. Spelled it with an E, so I'm fixing that really quick. Uh, Doctor Who under Russell T Davies had like a very distinct kind of style, and I think Moffat made it more like alien, if you will, more kind of, and mainly because I think they got a budget boost, or at least it looked like they did for Series 5. um but they were able to go to more places, I think, and stuff like that, with, and CGI was improving and all that good stuff, or getting cheaper, I guess. But yeah, this feels like Russell there's the danger of like, oh, is this going to be this more of the same? And it feels like he's done a really good job of evolving his own kind of sensibilities and surprising us.
I'm
Like,
I'm okay with sorry. I'm okay with these specials, they don't feel very special so far. And I'm okay with that as like a bit of a I'm seeing these episodes as a bit of a nostalgia tour to kind of it's probably a strategic move to people have been saying to move the ratings up, but it was actually Catherine Tate that suggested Russell, can we do another episode? And that's why he's just come back to the show. It wasn't
Okay.
like or maybe it was, but that's what they've both said, that it was Catherine Tate's idea on the tweet-alongs. And then Russell said it was his duty to bring them back for at least one episode, and we've got three. But I'm hoping when we get to series 14?
Yeah. Will we be in series 14 already? Yeah, I guess so. You're right.
I'm hoping that feels pretty different. Like it'll still have, good characters, but it'll be interesting to see how Russell writes a new Doctor and new characters, because even though I love David Tennant, I actually feel like these episodes are reminding me, we need a new face, because I know his mannerisms so well, and I'm actually enjoying Catherine Tate a bit more than Tennant.
Yeah, it's like catching up with for me though, in this episode, I feel like I got a little bit more of an evolution from Tennant on his Doctor as well. Like I felt like for the first time, this is definitely the 14th Doctor. Obviously, looks the same as the 10th Doctor, but there's some differences. Like I really liked some of the things that I feel like the influence of the 13th Doctor is very present in this new Doctor, and David Tennant's kind of doing, I think, a pretty good job of like um showing that, like like when they were talking about how hot Isaac Newton was, and
Very Russell.
yeah, but that's new for the Doctor, and that's something I feel like I could see the 13th Doctor being like, like easily saying someone's hot, like talking to Yaz or something, about another, how someone else looks or whatever, whereas like previous Doctors would have been like, oh, I don't even notice those kinds of things, like so this is the first time, and I like the acknowledgement of it too. I like that the Doctor says, oh, is this who I am now? But that was really funny when Donna's like, well, it was kind of always there.
Which is weird because, I mean, he fancied Rose for all of Donna's run, but
Yeah, but he didn't like really talk about how hot Rose was. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
it was a very like a very proper kind of way of talking about someone. And yeah, I can't remember any time in previous Doctor Who when the Doctor took note of someone's beauty in that way, saying they're hot. I can't remember like a time. So that's kind of a new thing that I could see, like that's new in the Doctor, but I could also see like 13 kind of being flirty in that way or whatever.
I think the
um
Doctor generally doesn't really. I'm pretty sure David Tennant said at one point the Doctor is fairly asexual.
Yeah. Yeah, but that doesn't have to be the case for every Doctor. I mean,
Yeah,
like, as they regenerate, they can be different. And I like that they're using the 14th Doctor to show that, like, you can kind of you can come back to the role as a different Doctor instead of like a cameo of your Doctor. You know what I mean? Like up until now, like what's been happening is this is kind of a new thing for Doctor Who. It totally is a new thing for Doctor Who because up until now you had like if you had a cameo, it would have been the 10th Doctor coming into a multi-Doctor story, right? But
yeah.
this is a whole new Doctor. They just happen to have the face of the Doctor, and it's kind of also like I like the 10th Doctor, sorry, and it's kind of like an evolution of what we've already kind of seen happening, like how you know how the 12th Doctor took the face of Gaius. What was the name of the character, the Roman character, the dad that Peter Capaldi played in
Um,
it was like some whatever that guy, right? Like that's who the 12th Doctor took his face. I remember there was that whole episode where he was wondering why did I take this face and all that stuff. Like
yeah,
I know this face, like all that. So there's like a new like this new thing that was kind of like introduced in the and they kind of like tied it into this like anomaly in the Donna in series 3, and but then now they've taken it a step further, where like so now like technically like, and what I like is the 14th Doctor reads older, like the way they've the way that the Doctor's regenerated, it's like an older version of 10, you know what I mean? So like this gives you the possibility of bringing back like Sylvester McCoy or Tom McGann even, or you know, like, or even putting in a face of like the Doctor could come back looking like, you know, Martha or something, you know, like it could be like a neat thing, especially since we no longer have regeneration limits and all that's out the door. So how do you feel about all that?
Well, it's interesting because once you bring back an old Doctor, you know, you bring back David Tennant as the 14th Doctor, then I suppose it means you could maybe get away with uh, doing a lot more. I don't know whether they're going to do any spin-offs with any Doctors. I'm pretty sure Russell said, I don't know if it was like 2020 or something, but he was saying Doctor Who should have like spin-offs like Marvel. We should be seeing uh, the 11th and the 10th Doctor adventures or whatever, and you know, like tales like that. But I think that's probably going to come later. And people are talking about a unit show, but I don't think that's happening, and it'd probably be pretty boring.
But yeah, you could have, oh, that, you know, like when you're saying that, like you could have like multi-era revisits as spin-offs too. Like there could be a lot of possibilities. Um, I don't know if the spin-off model is something that like shows can maintain, showrunners, I should say, can maintain. I feel like, or or even productions can, like franchises can maintain really well, because I mean, unless all the different Star Trek series, I guess, have been spin-offs. So you do have like multiple spin-offs, like Discovery kind of spun off Strange New Worlds, and uh you could argue that, you know, Lower Decks and um Prodigy are kind of spin-offs of Discovery. So yeah, I don't know. But I personally like to follow a show like one series at a time. But I did like Torchwood, so that was a good spinoff. And I also liked Sarah Jane Adventures. So I think he was doing it before when he was kind of overseeing the era. What's different this time is that he has his own production company. In the last 15 years, like I was talking about this with our friend Brian, this production of Doctor Who is not, it's all Russell's company that's doing this, which is interesting.
Well, it's funny, people keep saying it's Disney money. I'm pretty sure it's not Disney money, it's the Sony Bad Wolf money. Like this isn't the
Right.
Disney money we're seeing, they're just broadcasting it, you know.
Well,
It's just Bad
Disney's
Wolf.
an investor. I mean, they have an interest as well. They paid to get Doctor Who on Disney Plus, and you know, have the what's cool is the simultaneous release. Um, the show airs at the same time in the UK as well as here in the States. So yeah, I think Disney money, and I'm sure they've invested a little bit into the production. But yeah, exactly. Uh, I would say the lion's share of the credit would definitely go to Bad Wolf, uh, and I think they're doing a great job. Did you like the production value of the spaceship, and like what did you think of all the look of everything?
Well, I mean, I think basically since um the Moffat era, the shows looked production-wise, it's looked great. Maybe the
Yeah,
VFX have got a bit better, but I think it's this episode was kind of showcasing. You can see that it's done on a low budget, the sets and stuff, but that's brilliant because it's a claustrophobic alien kind of esque bottle episode. But the
exactly.
people were saying the CGI was bad in this one, and as far as I'm concerned, for Doctor Who, it was pretty good. You know, it didn't take me out of the show at any time. I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was like I actually wondered at one point if they were using the AR wall technology, which they're not, right? It's still, they still employ like traditional green screen type of stuff. They're like on a treadmill or something, I heard,
Yeah.
when they're walking, right? Um, but it looks really clean, and the colors, like the way that the color grading is done, um, also the blend of CGI with practical effects is getting really good. We saw that in the previous episode. I thought the the Meep was like a really good balance, right? Of like uh how they use CGI to augment the practical puppet, if you will. And I thought the same thing here. Like it was absolutely freaky because I hate that kind of body horror to watch, but it was so well done when the arms, like when they had when the doctor had these gigantic like hands like on the floor and they were twitching around and like kind of moving. They looked really good. Like it
Well,
looked, I
they were
couldn't tell if it
practical.
was, yeah, yeah. But they looked so good. Like I thought like, oh wow, that's like high end practical, stuff. But I'm sure everything these days has like a layer of CG touch ups, that they do, like whether it's like, erasing, seams or wires, and a lot of that stuff's done in post as well. But yeah, it was great. And there were like the TARDIS looked so good, like when it when it crashed into the wall, like it looked like real metal, like that had like bent and held the force of the TARDIS flying into it. And I love when the doctor uses the TARDIS like a kind of like a surfboard. Like,
Yeah, it was like Back
or
to the
like a,
Future.
yeah, hoverboard. That's what I what I really meant. Yeah, it's like a, yeah, exactly. That was like Back to the Future. It was awesome.
It would've been funny if you had to do that for a bit longer just to get, keep kinda like Marty.
Like they could do that anytime. It's kind of a cool gag. I think that you could use that a lot. Like, and then there's an episode where he's like doing it, but then he goes over water and he can't he can't move the TARDIS. That'd be funny. So as Donna's still your favorite companion, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, I think, um, I think she never goes over the top, maybe it's because she's not, a
Are you waiting
dramatic
for her to
actress
have a
generally,
moment?
she's like, she's subtler and it makes the performance more entertaining for me, whereas sometimes Tennant is over the top, um, and they kinda bounce off of each other well. I think Catherine Tate just embodies this very ordinary person really well.
I forgot how much I missed like the doctor just having like a best friend to travel with, like someone who he's just really close to. And they're like 90% of my enjoyment comes from watching these two actors just get along so well together. And like there's a lot of layers, like both in universe and out of the universe of like, of this pairing coming back. And I thought about you a lot because I know Donna's your favorite companion. I think she's becoming my favorite companion, I have to say, because she's been great. The character and and the performance by Catherine Tate's just been wonderful so far. She's really good. I don't know. I have to think really hard, but there was a time when like Grace was my favorite companion, and then Rose was my favorite companion. I don't remember you being too fond of
Well, I think
Rose.
Rose was she was a realistic character, and she added a lot of drama to the show, but she
Yeah.
was also pretty she was so realistic, but it kinda she was a bit cheesy and a bit whiny, and having, like,
Ro
a whiny character that the 10th Doctor is, who's a bit immature, put with someone else who's so similar just doesn't work as well for me. It becomes a big kinda mush.
I do think Amy's still gonna be my, when all is said and done, Amy is probably still my favorite. The combination of Amy and Rory together with the Doctor, I kind of love that. But yeah, Donna's a close second now. She's really, it's really nice to have her back. But I did miss Rose. I want to see. I'm hoping we get more Rose. I hope we see the noble temples
I hope we see
with
Martha, 'cause
yeah,
she's a
Martha
part
would
of
be
the
amazing to come back to. Yeah, if we're gonna revisit, of course, it's kind of like, you run the risk of like the critiques that happened with Star Trek Picard, where some people were like, "Oh, why didn't we get like a reunion from the start?" And other people were like, "This is," I'm of the camp of like the way it was done was actually perfect. It made it more rewarding to get the reunion by not having it in the first two seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
like yeah.
but so yeah, I do hope, I hope, one, that the 15th Doctor has a long run. I don't want to like have a doctor change every 2 years. Like every 2 years we get a change of doctor. I hope we get the pleasure. Like I'm already excited about shooting Atwell. Like I feel like, seeing what he's done before, kind of he's going to be a really exciting doctor and kind of a doctor that I'm going to instantly warm up to. So I'm hoping that we get at least 4 or 5 series with Shooty, and so that gives us a lot of space to like that gives us the opportunity to space out cameos and stuff like that. Would you be interested in like would you be interested in like any plot points that in the previous Russell T Davis era being revisited during the 15th Doctor's run?
Um, I I feel like the only one that's worth visiting is have Martha come back for an episode
Yeah.
to kind of resolve some kind of
Well, more than an episode. I feel like
emotion.
she should come back for like a few, like do a nice good arc for her.
But then she might get in the way of the new companion, that's the problem. Um, I feel like it would be nice to see her just having moved on, but have closure with the Doctor this time and have realized that he's a new person, he's grown, he's different. Um, and I feel like Martha gets short thrift in the companions.
When was the last time we saw Martha? It was during
Um, End of Time at the very end with Mickey. She was a
didn't she come
soldier.
back? Am I imagining things, or does she come back at another adventure? No, I'm probably just imagining. How do you think they'll solve the problem of her? Didn't the last thing we know about her, she got married to Mickey?
Yeah, that was such a bad ending.
Yeah, I know.
Have him killed off maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, now it's true. I think we
That's
should just have him off screen killed off, Mickey. Poor Mickey. Well, Mickey was already killed. It's Ricky. No, right? No. We have
oh,
Mickey.
it was
Ricky
Ricky
is
that
who
died,
died.
wasn't it?
Ricky
Oh,
who
no,
died.
no.
Yeah.
Wait, was it
Yeah,
Ricky?
Ricky died. Yeah, Ricky's the one that died. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think we should get Ricky's companion, Ricky's like boyfriend, to be
I think
the.
Mickey was actually one of the worst characters Russell created. Like, the performance and I just found him so boring.
Yeah, looking back, like I was watching, Mickey was always I think he was meant to be kind of annoying, but now looking back, I'm just like, oh, we could totally erase Mickey and it wouldn't make a difference. Like,
But generally, I hope, Russell refrains from using previous plot lines. Like, I already saw in this episode that, um, the Doctor was talking about the flux like it was the Time War. Um,
oh,
so I hope he doesn't.
I didn't read it that way, but you're right. But it's the same kind of trauma. I feel like, but yeah, you're right. I see what you mean.
But the fact that he didn't open up again when this Doctor is supposed to be more vulnerable, it would have been nice if he did open up maybe and they had a hug just to show that he has grown more, he has changed, and it's not the same as his old era. Because if you're bringing back an old Doctor for just 3 episodes, I think you go overboard and you show that he's changed. You have that kind of character, um,
Right.
these
That's a
beautiful
really good point.
qualities he never got. And
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's so funny. Like the whole kind of you kind of blew my mind a little. It is very similar to how like 10 was dealing with the Time War. You're absolutely right. Those are similar kind of notes. But I do like that we got mention of the flux. I was talking to Brian about this, and we we really didn't know if the flux was reversed or if it was just that, or if the universe was truly, damaged by it. And now we get confirmation, about that. So it's kind of crazy to think about the fact that the universe is a damaged universe. And like, the last time that I didn't know this, but of course, Brian being a classic Who enthusiast and expert, I would say, in Legopolis, like 25% of the universe was destroyed, and then in the Flux, 50% of the remaining universe is destroyed. So there's not a lot of universe left. But I guess that's kind of like a commentary on like how, you know I guess this is the Doctor Who version of the blip, if you will. I don't know if we'll come back from it though. I guess something has to happen to reverse it.
I feel like they'll just stop addressing it, like, I
Yeah.
don't yeah.
It wouldn't be the end of the world. I think maybe you're right, like that the question was answered about what happened, what the result of the flux was. But now he's sitting on this like pain, and I think we'll get that. I have a feeling the way it's all structured is that at the end of episode 3, we'll get another one of those moments like, but again, to your point, it's kind of revisiting old like feelings that we've already gone through with the doctor. You know what I mean? Like feelings that
Yeah.
he's already resolved. And you're right, it's supposed to be more. The doctor's supposed to be more open, and I don't think that like kind of tracks with that. So yeah, good call out. I like that. I'll put that in my list of critiques for sure.
I'm kind of giving these specials a bit of a, um, you know, kind of I'm letting them off a bit because they're series 4 part 2, but if anything kinda feels too similar in Russell's, series 14, then I will be pretty disappointed. I'm hoping that Shooty's a more joyful Doctor, and I hope that, um, Ruby Sunday is an interesting character. I'm
Was
hoping
it
that they don't.
Is she Ruby Sunday? I thought she was Ruby Tuesday. No, that's the song called Ruby Tuesday. You're right. She's never mind.
Also,
And a
I don't know if
restaurant
you've
chain.
seen the new picture of, um well, it's the same TARDIS, obviously, but the picture for the giggle, Shooty's lighting looks really nice for his TARDIS because it's got that. I hate that when it's all white, it just doesn't look right, but when it's lit like it is with the green lighting, it looks just right, it's just atmospheric enough.
Nice. It's like the green lighting I happen to have the screenshot of right now in the
Yes.
background. But I didn't see a clip for is there a clip from the giggle? Like did they give a little preview?
It's a very
Or just
short one. It's
pictures?
just
Oh, okay.
basically a helicopter going over, like a unit helicopter, uh, David Tennant's face going slightly glowy, and Ncuti Gatwa the TARDIS, but they're not really moving. It's a very quick. It's not
Oh,
like
okay.
huge.
Yeah, I can't wait because like this is the first time we've again another unprecedented a 14 an incarnation of Doctor having a going back to an older face, and then also like having to wait for the next Doctor, the next new Doctor, because technically this is an old Doctor, an old new Doctor, new, uh, which fits. I guess it fits with the theme of how they were able to confound the not things by saying that humans can be of two minds and it's perfectly natural. So can the Doctor. Um, what else about this episode did you like or not like?
Um, let's see. Um,
What'd you think of the new? I'll ask a question that's more specific. Like, what'd you think of the equine? We never see the captain, but the new species of equine, horsey-looking species that we encounter in
Captain
this.
Horse. Um, gives new meaning to Hoovians. Um,
It's an easy costume to do for Halloween because you could just get that horse head and a spacesuit, like the horse head mask that people wear, like, and a spacesuit, and you can be the captain of this ship.
um, I don't know. I don't know. I generally just enjoyed it a lot, but I feel like the giggle is gonna be this kinda campy episode. Russell said there's gonna be puppets. It would be really interesting if briefly, I don't know, there's been all these rumors online, but it'd be really cool if briefly, even though it probably can't happen, like if Tennant and Shooty could, like, I don't know, be together just like for 10 minutes or something before he goes, even though that can't really happen. People have been talking about all these weird rumors about bi-regeneration, which I
Whoa.
know sounds kinda weird.
That does sound kind of weird, but hey, whatever. Weird is Doctor Who's middle name. Do you know the character, the toy maker that Neil Patrick Harris is going to play? The toy maker is supposed to have like powers similar to the Q, so I'm sure we're going to get some really strange kind of doctor facing off against a godlike being type of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna be from what I've seen, he feels like he's gonna be a kind of very similar to me to how Russell wrote his Master, um, in that kind of campy, menacing style.
Like a unhinged kind of thing. Although I have to give credit to the actor who played the master in the last series.
He was great,
What?
yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing. He felt like the most unhinged and dark master that I've seen so far. I found the image and I'm really excited about I'm gonna put this up on screen. Hold on. I'm really excited about something. Hold on one second.
I like the
All right.
idea of puppets. I think some kind of puppet show in the episode probably. Because there's a promo picture where Donna and the Doctor are watching the toy maker, and it looks like he's gonna bring puppets out or something. Um, and I feel like Donna is she's probably gonna leave the Doctor of good circumstances and just be like, "Yeah, I've got a family now. I nearly died. It's time for me to move on."
Yeah, I think she's gonna have that like a typical kind of ending for a companion who gets their own life and kind of moves on uh from the doctor. So yeah, hopefully I hope she gets her happy ending anyways.
I love that
um
green lighting on the column. It just looks so much warmer in this picture.
and look, there's an iPod in the background. That's kind of awesome that there's going to be a jukebox on the TARDIS.
You need some old sofas in that TARDIS, you know?
Yeah, you do. I think that 15 is gonna warm up the TARDIS, like make it less cold. That was like one of the kind of things that I think you were talking about, like how it's just kind of like in the way it looks now. And I think that's intentional. I think the TARDIS is gonna, this doctor's not gonna be in the TARDIS long, right? The 14th. So, the TARDIS itself is waiting for the 15th Doctor to like come in and make it the kind of a special place.
'Cause the
But
console is kinda similar to Capaldi's a bit, and I think Capaldi's probably my favorite interior. They had the bookcases, and the silver was very kind of rustic.
oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I think more and more, I think this is one of my favorite TARDIS designs. I think 11's first TARDIS, and then maybe this TARDIS is going to be my second favorite. We'll see what it does. A lot of the things that like I love about the TARDIS is some of the functionality and like how the interior lighting is and stuff. And this TARDIS has a lot of potential to be pretty crazy and amazing and wonderful at the same time. Like that Willy Wonka factor, if you will. I'm coining that phrase early before the Timothy Chalamet Wonka comes out. The Wonka factor.
Yeah, it
Gotta
does
have the
kinda look like a Wonka room or a yeah.
right,
I love
like
that the way that the lighting kinda interacted when the TARDIS was in flight, like, the lights were all going it was only white lights, so it wasn't as impressive, but you can imagine, like, multicolored lights going up and down or whatever when the TARDIS is in flight would be so cool.
I like that idea that the whole TARDIS is like this, and so like let's say like you want to find your room, right? Like the TARDIS can kind of guide you with the lights, like the Enterprise D sort of, and like point the way to things too. So the TARDIS can communicate in a whole new way when like every roundel has like the capability of having individual lights and stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
And I hope we see, like, TARDIS chaos, like, the I love when the TARDIS goes, crazy and see that if it would probably have taken away from this episode in particular, but it would have been pretty cool if, at the start of an episode we saw the TARDIS just going crazy and they're hanging on to the console, going into different eras or whatever, having jokes. Um,
It's true. Hey, did you ever sing Wild Blue Yonder in school like Donna?
no,
Did you know that song before this episode?
no.
um, let's see. Oh, my cat's making noise on purpose to get my attention. Can you hear the bags? Like the you probably can't hear it because the mic is really good at just picking up like what's close. But yeah, my cat's getting a little crazy here. Um, did you ever see the movie Event Horizon?
No, but I've heard of it.
So a lot of people are, I guess, it's worth checking out. It's a really good kind of like horror science fiction film. Sam Neill is in it. And anyways, it's kind of like a creepy thing that the not things and like the ship and the way it's configured and like like the void and everything is very similar to like the kind of vibe that is in that movie. So I felt like it was like maybe an intentional kind of homage to that movie. And then other folks were saying that it's an homage to The Thing, and I forget another reference that I heard Brian making, which I thought was also apt. But yeah, you should definitely check out Event Horizon when you get a chance. But yeah, I like the whole the ticking time bomb, but it was like you didn't know it was ticking right away. Do you know what I mean? Like there was I
Yeah.
thought it was a new take on that kind of like storytelling device because like it was ticking the whole time, but then but you don't the doctor and the audience don't realize it till the very end, when it like I think it like really amped up the tenseness and everything. But Jimbo, rest in peace. Great design on Jimbo. What'd you think of that whole aspect of the episode with like the mystery box being the actual ticking time bomb plot?
Yeah, I think it added to the story. I mean, I assumed when we saw like the promotional pictures that Jimbo was gonna be some ridiculous uh alien that was, robot that was gonna talk and be like a friend to the Doctor and Donna, just like, the robot and that ridiculous robot in the waters of Mars, and
Oh wait, remind me. I forgot about the robot.
um,
Oh, okay, I remember.
it was like really cheap and it moved around really slowly and it basically um, got the TARDIS back to the Doctor when he needed to leave. Um, it had some ridiculous name and it looked kind of similar. I don't know, but it was interesting because this episode felt like, the fact that the Doctor left Donna there, I thought, wow, that's going to be interesting. Would they be bold enough to have an episode with a fake Donna? That would be very dramatic. But also that move of leaving Donna felt like a kind of dark Doctor Waters of Mars move. Um,
Right, and like y- like Brian had the notion that like once the not thing fully integrated Donna, it would just become her. Like that it would no longer have the kind of, dark intentions or whatever, but I don't believe that. I think that Donna Donna would have just been like a mask and that the true nefarious entity or whatever would have used that or whatever. And so that's the scary part. But the doctor was saved by by seeing that the this is the Russell T Davies thing that I think is like bonkers that you don't see with the other eras as much, but like how the heck did the TARDIS just have like this ejection like the way he just ejected her.
that was kind of funny, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like there's that kind of camp, right? That like,
This
like,
episode had kind of a mix of horror and camp.
but I just like really enjoyed her getting ejected out of the TARDIS.
But it was kind of dark for the Doctor. Donna could have literally died. That could have been our last.
I
Um,
know.
What if
Also,
that
he could
happened and the doctor was too late, you know?
Well, I mean, the easy answer to that is that, he could just, like he could have just time traveled just a little bit,
Donna
to
said
make sure.
nothing about it after, like, she seemed completely fine, it was kinda interesting. She didn't confront him or anything. And
I know, I would have been like
and at the start when, the doctor was, got a little angry about the coffee, I thought, "Oh, are they gonna make this an episode where they the ship something about the ship turns them against each other, or they get
Oh,
more
right.
aggressive?" But no.
That's good. I'm glad they didn't go in that direction with it. So, but here's Jimbo. I love this character. I like that he's rusty. He's been moving for 3 years at a very slow pace. Like, and those nothing things, those creatures didn't even like notice him, which is, I think, it's a brilliant thing. Now the question comes up, like, I think, like, if and the doctor hadn't arrived, Jimbo would have just done his thing and blown up the ship. So that was always going to happen no matter what. It was just the whole complication of the nothings turning solid, which actually might have killed them. Whereas before, had the ship exploded and they were not, like, in a form of any kind, they may have been unaffected um, by them. Do you think that we'll see those characters again somehow?
Um,
That species, like, is it interesting enough to bring up, or do you like it, or do you think that it's alright, they're just a one-off and it's
I think
alright?
they'd probably be a one-off. I mean, like the Rebel Flesh and the Vashta Nerada. I feel like if you want to bring back this idea, you could just bring back the Zygons, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's true. But the Zygons are so gross looking. Uh,
Yeah.
here's I thought this was such a sweet thing. It's a real shame that Bernard Cribbins, passed away and won't be in the next one, but I'm glad we got the moment that we got with him. It was cool to see Wilf again, and it was the perfect, like, kind of crown to if you're gonna go back to the Dr. Donna, era, you got to go back to Wilf, and I'm glad they were able to get that in. What'd you think?
Um, I don't know, I kind of feel like obviously they couldn't do it now, but I feel like I preferred it the way he was left off at the end of series 4, just, uh if he'd actually they can't do it anymore. It's nice that we get to see him, but it's gonna feel weird that the Doctor obviously it's because he's passed, but it's gonna feel weird that the Doctor is just like, you know I mean, obviously, it's gonna keep him safe, but that's gonna mean we're not gonna see any more of him, um, and that feels kinda weird. I would have rather that in story he'd probably passed away, as well, but then that wouldn't be nice because he filmed these scenes.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a you're stuck in a rock in a hard place because, of course, you know, having, but that's happened before too. But I am glad they included him. I think Wilf just, like, is an important part. But I do wonder how they're gonna transition, because, like, the last thing we see is this, like, kind of chaos, and it looks like they're about to get into the TARDIS. So I mean, it
Yeah.
would be terrible if they leave Wilf like
Well,
in this.
he was outside in the first place, which was weird. His whole family had left him.
Also, is it like the Red Hour in Star Trek? Like, what's going on there? Because everything's calm when they arrived. It just suddenly got chaotic. Uh, but Wilf knew about it. So is it like something that happens, like, for an hour? And it's gonna be interesting to see what is causing all the commotion, if you will.
I think it was spoiled.
What do you mean?
I
Oh,
think
like, there's a
it's
spoiler out there that tells
well,
what's
it's not
happening.
like anything huge, like, apparently it's just gonna be the giggle of what is it, a puppet or of some kind of, like, freak I don't know, some kind of radio or some kinda giggle that possesses people from the toy maker,
Ah, okay. Interesting. Okay, well, hence the name The Giggle. I gotta go back and watch. I don't know if there's gonna be much tie-in to the Celestial Toymaker and that episode of Doctor Who because, you know, of course, by today's standards, there's a lot of like racist, kind of tropes and stuff that they that character. That's why they just call him the Toy Maker and not the Celestial Toy Maker like the previous character. But I might go back and revisit that episode just to see if there's any clues as to it because I don't really know. I remember seeing the episode when I was like a kid, but I don't really remember what happens in that adventure or anything like that. But anyways, I think we're coming up to about the hour point, so let's wrap it up with some I guess final thoughts here. Why don't you go ahead and go first?
Um, so I thought this was a really good. It felt like a second episode that you'd probably have in a series. Like you have Rose and then the end of the world, which is in the future, and then you have the 11th hour, and then the beast below. Um, it felt like it's funny because these specials feel like the start of a new series, but they feel like but they're not. It's going to end next week, and it's going to be a new series. So I kind of hope that the new episodes and the Christmas special don't feel as similar maybe as these episodes, but it must be hard. It must be hard to write um, stories you've never done before when Doctor Who's done so many and write new characters when you've wrote the Doctor and Donna like a certain way, the Doctor and a companion a certain way for so long. It'll be interesting to see how different they feel in performance and in writing. Um,
Yeah, I'm kind of eager to get to the new stuff. I mean, I'm loving this revisit to these characters, to this Doctor and this companion and this kind of era. But I'm really eager to get to new stuff because it's been 15 years for Russell T Davies, so he's got a lot of new, he's got a lot of things that he's done from there to here that now can influence the way the show is going to be and like the characters, and we watched It's a Sin not too long ago, and I love that. It was like very kind of. I felt like it was a little different, for a Russell T Davies style show. Like it went in new directions. I was very excited by that. So I hope he does the same thing now that he's come back to Doctor Who and he incorporates all his new kind of like experiences, which naturally I think he's going to do. But I'm excited to see what that translates into, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, it's going to be interesting because I've seen, like, I really love his work on Years and Years. It's very,
Yeah, I haven't seen that show yet, but I got to check it out.
um, but I feel, I feel like I just hope it feels. I'm already enjoying it more than the Whittaker era, so that's not a problem. You know, um, I
Let's
just
call it the
feel like
Chibnall era because I think Whitaker would be better served under Russell T Davies. And actually, I'm excited for the next multi-doctor story because I hope they bring Jodie's doctor and have her written by by Russell. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
yeah, I feel like, the problem with Chibnall is his characters felt so they didn't feel like real people at all to me. There's like, you know, if something was happening in the TARDIS, Ryan or Graham would just be like, I don't know, what doctor? They had no real humanity to them. I couldn't care for those characters.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember. Yeah, and then actually, you're right. At the end of the day, I'm like not really missing any of them. Like I missed, the previous companions in previous eras. So yeah, I agree with that critique for me.
um, Let me think. So, well, we've seen pictures of what a space slug. Um, filming for I think a couple of seasons ahead. We've seen some kind of um we've seen some unit stuff, like people were chanting, "Let us see the tech," presumably spaceship
Ah.
technology. We were seeing some kind of MP stuff. So I hope that doesn't feel too similar to Harold Saxon. I feel like Russell will probably make some kind of digs there. Uh,
Oh, what'd you think of the music in this episode real quick?
it was, it's funny because people were saying with Murray coming back, it's gonna be so bombastic and over the top, and actually, I feel like he's been pretty restrained, not in a bad way, like, the music's fantastic in the first episode when Sylvia's running up to the doctor, it goes complete comedy, but then there's, like, piano scenes when Donna is,
Yeah, that's right.
feeling more melancholic, and then, obviously, the "I am the doctor" when we see Doctor Donna, um,
But
but
it's
he's
subtler.
not.
It's like more. It's not as bombastic. You're right.
Yeah, he's never
As when
he's not actually reused any of his themes apart from maybe in
a
full, like,
hint here and
when
there.
we heard
Yeah.
Donna's theme, it was, like, 3 notes of it. When we heard the
Hmm.
Doctor's theme, it was, like, 3 notes of it, not the full thing, how it was when we first heard it. Um, and in this episode, when the Doctor kissed Donna's hand, there was, like, a twinkly, melody that just, went with that emotion so well.
That was such a great scene. Thanks for bringing that up. I love that part. Actually, that was really nice.
And actually, at the end of the first episode, um, when the TARDIS is going crazy, the music goes, um, more well, no, more kind of catastrophic, and it builds up that tension really well. And at the very end of this episode, when the TARDIS is coming in the first time, it's like a weird, kind of choir song. Um,
Oh, it was the same. It was the Wild Blue Yonder song. I thought that was interesting. Now that I never thought of it that way, but it is interesting because normally you'd expect like da 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 da, right? Like some kind of heroic,
yeah,
TARDIS theme or whatever. But it was the Wild Blue Yonder song. That is weird, and I wonder, I wonder if that's like that is weird that the TARDIS is playing that music. They don't really resolve. They don't really resolve. Like she's going into battle, right? Like it's a battle cry. It's a war song, so they don't really resolve what it's all about. So we might find out more about that. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, flying high into the sky. Well, Robbie, now it is time for us to fly high into the sky and say goodnight to our audience. Thanks for folks who were tuning in. There was a live chat I forgot to mention that you could have chatted on. So if you didn't know, next time you could chat on the live chat. I haven't streamed in a long time, so I'm kind of out of form, but I appreciate you putting up with me. I hope you had a nice time, Robbie. I did.
yeah, I did.
Cheers. All right. Well, we'll probably be back for the next two episodes if we can align our temporal coordinates. Uh, so stay tuned. We'll do a little bit better job of advertising it. So yeah, I'll see you next time, folks, and thanks for tuning in.